Jack Smith, this is the special prosecutor who has been appointed both to investigate the stolen documents case, which today we will hear will be the first pretrial hearing, I guess, in Florida from that Trump-appointed judge. And he's also heading, I guess, the Washington-based January 6th investigation, not to be confused with the sort of attempts to steal the election that took place in Georgia. Yeah. And like I mentioned in the headlines, the Supreme Court of Georgia quashed Trump's bid to preempt the indictment that everybody anticipates happening within, maybe a month or so in Georgia. But Jack Smith sent notice to Donald Trump, and apparently he did it Sunday night, but Trump decided to release it today. Here is Donald Trump's announcement on Truth Social that he has gotten a target letter.
Wow.
He was very, very surprised to receive that letter.
Wow.
So shocking. But here it is. He gets the, wow, on Sunday night, while I was with my family, having just arrived from the Turning Point event in Florida, we all know, of course, what he's talking about, where I won the straw poll against all other Republican candidates with 85.7. With all polls showing me leading in the Republican primary by very substantial numbers. Almost everyone predicting that I will be the Republican nominee.
Does this count as a run-on sentence? I mean, I just want to ask.
It's a run-on paragraph. And as I'm leading the Democrat Joe Biden by horrifying news for our country was given to me by my attorneys. Deranged Jack Smith, the prosecutor with Biden's DOJ, sent a letter. Again, it was Sunday night. He seems to be very pissed about the Sunday night letter.
Right. That's the whole
stating
day.
That I'm a target of the January 6th grand jury investigation and giving me a very short 4 days to report to the grand jury. So that deadline seems to be Thursday, right? I mean,
that'll give you some Sunday scaries.
Yep. Which almost means an arrest and an indictment. So now Joe Biden's Attorney General, Merrick Garland, who I turned down for United States Supreme Court, in retrospect, based on his corrupt and unethical actions of very wide, I don't know, I don't even need to read any more of this. But this witch hunt is all about election interference and complete and total political weaponization of law enforcement. It's a sad and dark period for our nation. I don't know why, I really don't know why Ronald Reagan read that letter off to everybody, but there it is. So I don't know what happens, frankly, in the next 2 days. It was just breaking, but presumably he's got to, I don't know what that means in terms of report in front of the grand jury, if that means that he needs to testify or he needs to acknowledge that he's been summoned by the grand jury or acknowledge that he is a target in the investigation. This is more than likely. I mean, you would not have this unless they're prepared to indict him. Generally, when, not always, but often when a grand jury is about to indict somebody, they will invite testimony from the accused. That will happen. And that sounds like what's going on here. So we will see more. But here's Marjorie Taylor Greene with her response. This was this morning in front of reporters on Capitol Hill.
Former President Trump says he received a letter from Jack Smith saying he's a target of a grand jury investigation of January 6th. Do you have a reaction to that?
Yeah, it's absolute bullshit. Yeah, that's my reaction. This is the only way that the Democrats have to beat President Trump is to arrest him, smear him, charge him with ridiculous charges, all in a cover-up of Joe Biden's crimes, Hunter Biden's crimes. It's unbelievable. It's hard to even recognize that this is our country. The American people are going to be be furious. And what Jack Smith is doing is the weaponized government. And he's weaponizing the Department of Justice against President Trump in a complete lie about President Trump and January 6th. And it's outrageous. I can't believe our country has to endure this. And I'll be standing with President Trump the entire way.
Have you spoken to him since this?
I have not spoken with him yet, but I'm sure I'll be talking with him very soon.
Given the fact that this is not the first time that he's been the target of one of these investigations, do you find this one to be more serious?
Yes, I find it to be more serious because the charges they're looking at bringing against him, they arrested people on January 6th. They held them pre-trial. They never let them out on bail. And the question that I want to ask Jack Smith, is this the plan? Are they going to arrest President Trump, charge him with phony, fake charges, and then hold him in prison while he is winning the Republican primary, while he's going to win the general election in 2024? Is this where our country is now? Because it's an embarrassment on the world stage. If this is the direction America is going in, we are worse than Russia. We are worse than China. We are worse than some of the most corrupt third world countries. And this needs to end.
She came out swinging.
There you go.
I'm the American Lula.
Yeah, I don't know what. So.
Libertad. Trump livre.
Trump livre. I just feel like there is, diminishing returns politically for these indictments at this point within the Republican primary, because this doesn't even register. They all think it's a part of one whole witch hunt, and it's like the more that they try, the more that the more they cut off one hydra's head, the more three heads grow back, or something like that.
That's a great point, because what is happening on the other sort of end of that ledger is that there are multiple like legit charges against him, and each new one doesn't necessarily help him, although he'll try and he'll fundraise off it, but it doesn't necessarily help his numbers anymore. I don't think it hurts him at all, but it doesn't help him. But you'd rather be facing one criminal charge as opposed to, let's say, 2 or 3 or maybe 4. That is, I think,
gotta catch them all.
And he's running out of lawyers. I just don't think he can actually literally get lawyers. But the other point about like the one-headed hydra, Greg Sargent wrote a piece about this in the Washington Post yesterday or today. Part of the reason why they can't get any traction on their conspiracy theories is that there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And every Republican seems to have their like favorite one that needs to be serviced. So they can't coalesce around one narrative, right? Like, there's like, I'm trying to follow how many witnesses are missing in which part of the investigation about Hunter Biden. And are we talking about what Hunter Biden did, or is it what Joe Biden did, or the other members of the Biden crime family? Or is it really just about the suppression of the story about Biden? Is it China, or is it Burisma? Is it, and just literally scratch the surface. There's just simply too many cooks in the kitchen in terms of the conspiracies, because they all have their favorite ones.
What's canon?
Exactly. No, someone asked me actually the other day, like, can you explain QAnon to me? And I said, well, there's no canon.
Yeah.
It's just everybody's got their own sort of flavor. It's fascinating.